All right, I'm going to change gears here, and I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to show you the most powerful demonstration of the Father's heart that I've seen in years. And it's on tape. Now, I'm going to take you back because here's what's really, this is a serious, serious thing. I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to show you something, and you might have seen it from a different lens. And you might also insist, after I tell you this story, well, you failed to mention this or you failed to mention that. And I have no agenda to mention everything that is a part of this. My agenda is to show you the Father's heart and to show you the courage of a young man who brought the Father to a room that nobody expected him to bring. A year ago, there was a Dallas police officer who, after serving a 13-and-a-half-hour shift on the SWAT team, meaning she's kicking down doors all day, she drove home at 10:30 at night. She lived in an apartment complex. She lived on the 3rd floor. Because she's out of her tree, she went to the 4th floor. She parked her car. She went to the apartment which is where her apartment should have been. She went to put in her key. The door was already ajar. She thinks somebody is in her apartment, kicks open the door, pulls out her pistol, and blasts and kills a man, turns on the light, and it's not her apartment. Now, I want to just tell you about this man that's sitting on his couch, minding his own business. He had already been in bed, and he got up because he decided he needed some ice cream. He sounds like me. And he gets up and goes and gets some ice cream, and he's sitting in his living room in the pitch dark eating ice cream, probably because he didn't want his wife to know. That would be my case. And a horrifying something happened that you can't even imagine. All of a sudden, some crazy woman kicks the door open, and he stands up, and she blasts him twice, and now he's dead. This man has been in ministry his whole life. His family has been in ministry their whole lives. Never been in trouble. Was an accountant for Price Waterhouse. And now he's dead. And imagine if you would have got the phone call, 1 o'clock in the morning, your brother is dead. How could he be dead? He's shot. How could he be shot? Someone came in his house and shot him because they thought they were in their house. The injustice of that, the mess of that, the heartbreak of that, the loss of that, the offense of that is so huge. So it turns out, word comes out that this woman who shot him was actually a trained professional, was on the SWAT team, was on the Dallas Police Department, and then all kinds of hell broke loose, and then it come out that she was a white girl and that this was a black man, and then all kinds of hell broke out. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I could avoid this if I want to, but you guys, all of us, are involved in this every single day of our life. And we need to know how to bring the Father into the midst of this kind of stuff, in the midst of confusing and horrible tragedies, in the midst of so many agendas, because what's real is this. A year goes by, a year before the trial. And then, I want you to think about this. You've had a year since your brother has been murdered. A year. And now you really know what a loss it is. I mean, you know. You've lived a year now without your brother. And now you know what a horrible loss you've actually suffered. The family, number one, the defendant did not defend herself in the trial. She did at her sentencing, but she didn't at her trial. And so the family got up to speak. Their voices needed to be heard. They got to voice. All of them gave the voice of what an incredible human being Botham Jean was. All of them, like, you just don't get it. This guy is something else. This guy's been selfless his whole life. He's been involved in ministry his whole life. He's a drop-dead, sold-out Jesus freak. And you just don't know the loss of this. Some of the family members, when they got up, they voiced their hurt and their anger to the person that had killed their brother, as anybody would expect. And they got up and they said things like, I hope that you die the way that he died. And they got up and they voiced how hurt they were. And then, come time for the 18-year-old brother to come up. And this young man's 18 years old. His brother was 27 years old. And he gets up there, and everybody is expecting him to bring something racial. They're expecting him to bring something political. They're expecting him to bring something this, that, whatever. And he decides to bring the Father's heart. I want to remind you, before you see this, this is the most difficult situation that a young man can possibly be in. And this brother is 18 years old. 18 years old. He's not 48. He's 18 years old. And this is what he goes on trial to say. Let's watch it.
I'm not going to say I hope you rot and die just like my brother did, but I personally want the best for you. And I wasn't going to ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you. Because I know that's exactly what both of them would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ. I'm not going to say anything else. I think giving your life to Christ would be the best thing that both of them would want you to do. Again, I love you as a person. And I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
That's what it looks like when you bring the Father's heart into a horrible tragedy. Listen, the world hates that. The world hates that. He has a huge group of haters that thinks that he's been brainwashed somehow. People want that judge disbarred. Brangene's act of grace towards his brother's killer sparks a debate over forgiven. You can't debate the love of God. You try and debate it. You try and debate the love of God. I want to tell you something. I am so proud of that kid. I'm so proud of him. I'm so grateful for him. And by the way, who are the rock star parents that raised that kid? Who are those people? Please hear me say this. Listen, I'm a chaplain to police. I'm not being a part of anything. I'm just saying this. If you don't recognize that as the Father, you don't know the Father. That's what the Father's love looks like. That's what it looks like. I'm going to close and tell you this, that Graham Cook, I'm going to quote him. He says, God needs a company of people that he can use as a visual aid to the earth. He's looking for a prototype as a church. I believe that God is building prototype churches all over the world right now, and that his people who will no longer be business as usual, but are after something so much more. That we need to be a visual aid. It's a showstopper. It's outrageous when you bring the Father's love to something. It's outrageous. Like, that don't even make no sense. That ain't reasonable. That's crazy. No, that's when you know the Father has shown up. Church, let's go after that, and let's be that kind of church. Let's be that kind of church.